वेलकम टू द फॉर्मूला फाउंडेशन। प्रीवियस वीडियो में हमने ऑर्थोनॉर्मल बेसिस को डिस्कस किया था और साथ ही हमने ऑर्थोनॉर्मल बेसिस की इंपॉर्टेंस को भी एक्सप्लोर किया था। लिंक इज गिवन इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स। अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग कि अगर आपके पास एक इनर प्रोडक्ट स्पेस V है, लेट वी हैव एन इनर प्रोडक्ट स्पेस V and S is a set of vectors v1 v2 up to vn. That is a basis for V. Then you know every vector u in V can be expressed as the linear combination of these basis vectors. That is, u is equal to k1 v1 plus k2 v2 plus up to kn vn. And to find these scalars k1 k2 up to kn, we have to solve the linear system. But till now we have learnt that if these bases are orthonormal, then every vector u in V can be expressed as if bases are orthonormal, then u can be written as u is equal to inner product of u with v1 times v1 plus inner product of u with v2 times v2 up to inner product of u with vn times vn. मीन्स अगर आपके पास बेसिस ऑर्थोनॉर्मल है तो आप लीनियर सिस्टम को सॉल्व किए बगैर इनर प्रोडक्ट के थ्रू ये स्केलर्स फाइंड कर सकते हैं। अब अगर आपके पास गिवन बेसिस ऑलरेडी ऑर्थोनॉर्मल है तो फिर आप तो इजीली इनर प्रोडक्ट स्पेस के किसी भी वेक्टर को उन बेसिस के लीनियर कॉम्बिनेशन में लिख सकते हैं। बट क्वेश्चन ये है कि अगर गिवन बेसिस ऑर्थोनॉर्मल ना हो तो क्या हम उन बेसिस को ऑर्थोनॉर्मल बना सकते हैं? सो येस, देयर इज अ वेल नोन प्रोसेस दैट इज कॉल्ड ग्राहम-श्मिट प्रोसेस through which we can convert our given basis into orthonormal basis. Actually, Graham-Schmidt process makes the basis orthogonal. And you know how to convert orthogonal basis into orthonormal? By dividing each vector to its own magnitude. Now, in order to understand the Graham-Schmidt process, let me first see an orthogonal projection. So, to visualize the orthogonal projections, consider the space R cube. Consider the space R cube with Euclidean inner product. Then you know a line and a plane through the origin. Both are the subspaces of R cube. Let me draw a line and a plane through the origin. So let's suppose it is the line W and it is the plane through the origin. It's origin and it is the origin. And let's suppose it is our space R cube. Now let me have a vector u in R cube, means it is a space, and vector u, it is a vector u in R cube. And similarly, it is a vector u, means vector u lies in space. Now draw the perpendicular from this vector u to the line W, and it is the perpendicular. And similarly, draw the perpendicular from u to this plane W. It is a plane W and it is the perpendicular from u. Now let the length of this vector is W1, and similarly the length of this vector is W1, and length of this perpendicular vector is W2. Similarly the length of this perpendicular vector is W2. Now observe that in both the cases you can write vector u, this vector u in both the cases u can be written as w1 plus w2. And this vector w1 in both line and the plane is called the orthogonal projection of u onto w and is denoted by projection of u onto w, projection of u onto w. We write w1 is called the projection of u onto w, orthogonal projection. And this vector w2 in both the cases is called the component of u orthogonal to w. Right? w2 is called the component of u orthogonal to w and denoted by projection of u onto w complement. So we write it is equal to projection of u onto w complement. Now equation 1 becomes u is equal to 1 can be written as u is equal to projection of u onto w plus what is w2, projection of u onto w complement. Notice that w1, that is projection of u onto w, lie on this subspace w, while w2 does not lie on w. Now remember that this result is not limited for the subspace of R cube, but it holds for every finite dimensional subspace of inner product space V. And this example is a special case of that generalized theorem. So let me write its general theorem, that is called projection theorem. So according to this projection theorem, if W is a finite dimensional subspace of an inner product space V, then every vector u in V can be expressed in exactly one way, as u is equal to w1 plus w2, where w1 is in w and w2 is in w complement. Or we can write u as projection of u onto w plus projection of u, means w2 is equal to projection of u onto w complement. And from here projection of u onto w complement is equal to u minus projection of u onto w. It is a very important result, remember it. Now Gram-Schmidt process में हमें given vector की orthogonal projection find करने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. So if we have a finite dimensional subspace W of an inner product space V and U is any vector in V, and now you know what is meant by the orthogonal projection of U onto W. But can you tell me how we calculate this projection? So for this, let's see another theorem. Let's call it theorem 1. And according to this theorem, let W be a finite dimensional subspace of an inner product space V. Then if the set of vectors v1, v2 up to vr is an orthonormal basis for W and U is any vector in V, then projection of U onto W can be written in the form of inner product. And similarly, if the basis is an orthogonal basis for W and U is any vector in V, then projection of U onto W can be written in this form. Observe that ये जो orthonormal basis है ये inner product space V के subspace W की basis है. And you know कि सिर्फ projection of U onto W means vector W1 ही subspace W में lie कर रहा है. It means if bases are orthonormal, then only this component, that is W1, can be written in this form. And it was the first part of the theorem. Now come to the second part. You know कि अगर आपके पास basis orthogonal है तो आप उनको orthonormal में convert कर सकते हैं. किस तरह कि अगर आप हर वेक्टर को उसी के मैग्नीट्यूड से डिवाइड कर दें तो रिजल्टिंग वेक्टर्स ऑर्थोनॉर्मल होंगे. मींस इफ दिस सेट ऑफ वेक्टर्स इज ऑर्थोगोनल, देन if given set of vectors v1 v2 up to vn is orthogonal, then set of orthonormal vectors will be, let me denote it with S prime, v1 upon magnitude of v1, v2 upon magnitude of v2 up to vn upon magnitude of vn. And since these bases S prime are now orthonormal, so by part A of the theorem, of this theorem 1, projection of u onto W is equal to inner product of u with first basis vector times the first basis vector plus inner product of u with second basis vector v2 upon the magnitude of v2 times the second vector v2 upon plus up to inner product of u with the vector vn upon magnitude of vn times the vector, and by using the property of inner product, this can be written as 1 upon magnitude of v1 times the inner product of u with v1. Because it is a scalar, so we can write it outside the inner product, and v1 upon the magnitude of v1 plus inner product 1 upon magnitude of v2 times the inner product of u with v2 times v2 upon magnitude of or norm of v2 plus up to 1 upon norm of vn times inner product of u with vn times vn upon norm of vn. And when we multiply these two norms, we have 1 upon norm of v1 square times inner product of u with v1 times v1 plus 1 upon norm of v2 square times the inner product of u with v2 times v2 plus up to 1 upon norm of vn square times the inner product of u with vn times vn. We omitted the proof of first part of the theorem, but we have proved the second part of the theorem, that is the projection of u onto W. Now let's see an example. Let R cube have the Euclidean inner product and let W be the subspace spanned by the orthonormal vectors v1 and v2. Find the orthogonal projection of u on W. Notice that W is a subspace of R cube and the given vectors are orthonormal and spans a subspace W. But these vectors are not the basis for W. Why? Because you know from your prior knowledge that to be a basis, number of vectors must be equal to the dimension of vector. And theorem 1 also holds for the spanning vectors. So since vectors v1 and v2 are orthonormal, therefore by part A of theorem 1, projection of u onto W is equal to the inner product of u with v1 times v1 plus inner product of u with v2 times v2. So we are required to find the inner product of u with v1 and inner product of u with v2. So inner product of u with v1 is equal to 1 and inner product of u with v2 is equal to minus 1 upon 5. You can verify. So projection of U onto W is equal to 1 times the vector V1 plus inner product of U with V2. What is inner product of U with V2? Minus 1 upon 5 times V2. What is V2? Coordinates of V2 are, so simplify it, 0, 1, 0 plus 4 upon 25, 0 and 3 upon 25, and it is equal to 4 upon 25 plus 0 is equal to 4 upon 25, 1 and 3 upon 25. It is the required projection, which is the required projection. And after getting all these concepts, now we are able to learn the Gram-Schmidt process. So let's start. So let V be any non-zero finite dimensional inner product space, and suppose that the set of vectors u1, u2 up to un is any basis for V. It suffices to show that V has an orthogonal basis, since the vectors in the orthogonal basis can be normalized to produce an orthonormal basis for V, and the following sequence of steps will produce an orthogonal basis v1, v2 up to vn for V, right? Means by this process we will convert these bases into orthogonal bases. These are orthogonal bases, and after that we will convert these orthogonal bases into orthonormal bases by normalizing each vector. Now let's see what are those steps that we follow. Step 1, let v1 is equal to u1. Means step 1 में आप first vector u1 को v1 consider करेंगे. Now step 2, अब स्टेप 2 में हमें ऐसा वेक्टर v2 फाइंड करना है जो v1 के ऑर्थोगोनल हो. कंसंट्रेट कीजिएगा कि v1 जो वेक्टर है वो लेट सपोज एक स्पेस w1 को स्पेन कर रहा है. मीन्स लेट सपोज इट इज अ स्पेस w1 एंड इट इज अ वेक्टर v1, एंड दिस वेक्टर v1 स्पेन्स दिस स्पेस w1. नाउ आपके पास जो गिवन बेसिस है u1, u2 अप टू un, उनमें से जो सेकंड वेक्टर है u2, लेट सपोज वो वेक्टर है ये u2. नाउ लेट वी ड्रॉ अ प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ u2 onto w1. इट इज अ प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ u2 onto w1. प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ u2 onto w1. नाउ नोटिस दैट u2 का ये जो कंपोनेंट है ये w1 के परपेंडिकुलर है और यही कंपोनेंट v1 के भी परपेंडिकुलर है. सो सिंस दिस वेक्टर इज ऑर्थोगोनल टू v1, सो वी कैन कॉल इट v2. एंड यू नो हाउ टू फाइंड दिस वेक्टर v2. पहले आप प्रोजेक्शन वेक्टर ऑफ u2 फाइंड करेंगे, फिर उसको यूज करते हुए v2 फाइंड कर सकते हैं. सो वी राइट वी कैन ऑब्टेन अ वेक्टर v2 that is orthogonal to v1 by computing the component of u2 that is orthogonal to the space w1 spanned by v1. And since v1 is a spanning vector of w1, so by theorem 1, projection of u2 onto w1 is equal to the inner product of u with v1 upon norm of v1 square times v1. And by projection theorem u2 is equal to projection of u2 onto w1 plus projection of u2 onto w complement, and we are required to find this component. And you know, projection of u2 onto w1 complement, that is v2, we call it v2. v2 is equal to u2 minus projection of u2 onto w1 And what is the projection of u2 onto w1? It is equal to the inner product of u with v1, inner product of u with v1 upon norm of v1 square times v1. And you know, from step 1, v1 is equal to u1, so you can write v2 is equal to u2 minus inner product of u with u1 upon norm of u1 square times u1. It is the required v2 which is orthogonal to v1. So by this technique you can find the second vector v2 that is orthogonal to v1. Now next steps में हम step 2 को ही modify करेंगे. So let's see the third step. अब हमारे पास दो orthogonal vectors हैं v1 and v2. So अब हम एक दूसरा स्पेस कंसिडर करेंगे w2 जो कि इन दो वेक्टर्स v1 एंड v2 से स्पैन होगा. और फिर स्टेप 2 की तरह यहाँ पर थर्ड वेक्टर u3 की उस स्पेस w2 पर प्रोजेक्शन लेंगे और उस प्रोजेक्शन के थ्रू u3 का w2 पर ऑर्थोगोनल कंपोनेंट यानी कि v3 फाइंड करेंगे जो कि दोनों वेक्टर्स यानी v1 एंड v2 दोनों वेक्टर्स के परपेंडिकुलर होगा एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट. आप इजीली इसकी ज्योमेट्री को इमेजिन कर सकते हैं. सो वी राइट टू कंस्ट्रक्ट a vector v3 that is orthogonal to both v1 and v2. We compute the component of u3 orthogonal to the space w2 spanned by v1 and v2. So by theorem 1, projection of u3 onto w2 is equal to the inner product of u3 with v1 upon norm of v1 square times v1 plus inner product of u3 with v2 upon the norm of v2 square times v2. And by projection theorem v3 is equal to u3 minus projection of u3 onto w2, and it is equal to u3 minus what is the projection of u3 onto w2, inner product of u3 with v1 upon the norm of v1 square times v1 minus inner product of u3 with v2 upon norm of v2 square times v2. So it is our vector v3 that is orthogonal to both v1 and v2. So continuing in this way, we will obtain after n steps an orthogonal set of vectors v1 v2 up to vn, and since v is n dimensional and every orthogonal set, and you know every orthogonal set is linearly independent, so the set of vectors v1 v2 up to vn is an orthogonal basis for v. मीन्स इस सेट ऑफ वेक्टर्स में हर एक वेक्टर की डायमेंशन n है और नंबर ऑफ वेक्टर्स भी n है. इट मीन्स नंबर ऑफ वेक्टर्स इज इक्वल टू द डायमेंशन ऑफ वेक्टर. और क्योंकि ये जो सेट है वो ऑर्थोगोनल है, इट मीन्स दिस सेट इज लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट, क्योंकि जब भी एक सेट ऑर्थोगोनल होगा मीन्स लेट सपोज हमारे पास एक प्लेन है और उसमें दो वेक्टर्स हैं, और दो वेक्टर्स अगर ऑर्थोगोनल हैं तो वो एक ही लाइन पर लाई नहीं करेंगे, और वो एक ही लाइन पर लाई नहीं करेंगे, इट मीन्स वो लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट होंगे। इसी तरह अगर जो वेक्टर्स हैं, अगर आर क्यूब में तीन वेक्टर्स हैं और वो ऑर्थोगोनल है, इट मीन्स वो एक ही प्लेन पर लाई नहीं करेंगे, और क्योंकि वो एक ही प्लेन पर लाई नहीं करेंगे इसलिए वो लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट है। तो इसी तरह जो वेक्टर्स अगर ऑर्थोगोनल होते हैं तो वो हमेशा लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट होते हैं। सो अब क्योंकि यहाँ पर नंबर ऑफ वेक्टर्स एंड डायमेंशन ऑफ वेक्टर्स इक्वल है और वेक्टर्स जो है वो लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट है, सो दिस सेट ऑफ वेक्टर्स फॉर्म अ बेसिस फॉर वी। एंड द प्रीसीडिंग स्टेप बाय स्टेप for converting an arbitrary basis into orthogonal basis. Orthogonal basis is called the Gram-Schmidt process. Now for more clarity, let's see an example. Consider the vector space R cube with the Euclidean inner product. Apply the Gram-Schmidt process to transform the basis vectors v1, v2 and v3 into an orthogonal basis v1, v2 and v3. Then normalize the orthogonal basis vectors to obtain the orthonormal basis q1, q2 and q3. So step 1, let v1 is equal to u1. And what is u1? u1 its coordinates are 1, 1, 1. Now step 2, and in step 2 we are required to find the orthogonal component of u2 by using the projection of u2 onto the space w1 spanned by v1. So it will be v2 is equal to u2 minus projection of u2 onto w1, and it will be u2 minus, what is the projection of u2 onto w1? It will be the inner product of u2 with v1 upon norm of v1 square times v1. So coordinates of u2 are 0, 1 and 1 minus inner product of u2 with v1 is equal to 2, and norm of v1 square is equal to 3 times v1, and coordinates of v1 are, because v1 is equal to u1, so coordinates of v1 are 1, 1 and 1. 0, 1, 1 minus 2 upon 3, 2 upon 3 and 2 upon 3. So it becomes minus 2 upon 3, 2 upon 3, sorry 1 minus 2 upon 3 is equal to 1 upon 3, and 1 minus 2 upon 3 is equal to 1 upon 3. It is v2. Now step 3. Now we have to find the orthogonal component of u3 by using the projection of u3 on the space w2 spanned by v1 and v2, and it will be u3 minus projection of u3 onto w2, or u3 minus projection of u3 onto w2 will be inner product of u3 with v1 upon norm of v1 square times v1 minus inner product of u3 with v2 upon norm of v2 square times v2. So v3 is equal to u3, and coordinates of u3 are 0, 1 and 1 minus inner product of u3 with v1 is equal to 1, and upon norm of v1 square is equal to 3 times v1, coordinates of v1 are 1, 1 and 1 minus inner product of u3 with v2 is equal to 1 upon 3, and norm of v2 square, norm of v2 square will be 2 upon 3 times v2, 2 upon 3, 1 upon 3 and 1 upon 3. So it becomes 0, minus 1 upon 2 and 1 upon 2. You can verify. Thus v1 is equal to, and v2 is equal to minus 2 upon 3, 1 upon 3 and 1 upon 3, and v3 is equal to 0, minus 1 upon 2 and 1 upon 2. These set of vectors form an orthogonal set for RQ. Now let me normalize these vectors in order to find the orthonormal basis. So norms of these vectors are radical 3, radical 6 upon 3 and 1 upon radical 2. So an orthonormal basis for RQ is Q1. What is Q1? Q1 is the normalized vector of V1. So it will be V1 upon norm of V1, that is 1 upon radical 3, 1 upon radical 3. Q2. What is Q2? Q2 is the normalized vector of V2. So it will be V2 upon norm of V2, minus 2 upon radical 6, minus 2 upon radical 6, minus 1 upon radical 6 and 1 upon radical 6. And Q3, which is the normalized vector of V3, and coordinates of Q3 are 0, minus 1 upon radical 2 and 1 upon radical 2. So I tried my best to explore the concept of Gram-Schmidt process. I hope it will be productive for you. That's it.